Good morning, people. Matthew Cook here. This is the Tactical Dad Podcast. I'm your host, and I am the Tactical Dad. In this episode number 43, we're going to talk Weaver and Picatinny rails. That is what we're going to discuss. Since we've been talking a lot about optics, scopes, a little bit about flashlights, we've been talking mainly about optics over the last few days, and with optics you need a rail. You need to be able to mount it to your gun, to your rifle, to your pistol, to your shotgun, whatever it is. So you'll come across, if you're new, you'll come across, just like I was, you'll come across Picatinny rail and Weaver rail. Them terms you will come across. And they're just different rail systems. They're similar, but they are different. Very similar, but different. So a Picatinny rail and a Weaver rail are both a type of mounting system that you use to attach these accessories like optics, like we've been talking about, scopes, sights, bipods. I've got a flashlight. I've got an all-light flashlight on mine right now. And it's attached to my Picatinny rail. So that's what they're used for. It is as a system for mounting accessories, basically, to kit your firearm out. The main difference between the two is the size and shape of the slots on the rail. A Picatinny rail has evenly spaced slots that are 0.206 inches wide, while a Weaver rail has unevenly spaced slots that are about 0.180 inches wide. The Picatinny rail is, I didn't know them specific numbers, I researched them and found them out, and someone probably way smarter than me knew that information, and I took it from them. And it was in tons of different blogs and podcasts and YouTube videos, so I made sure I checked with a few others first. The Picatinny rail is slightly taller than the Weaver rail also. Another difference that I found was that the Picatinny rail is more of a standardized rail than a Weaver rail. And I can honestly say I saw Picatinny rail more than I saw Weaver. In fact, when I first saw Weaver, I was like, what the heck is that? I thought they were all just like an industry-wide Picatinny rail. I thought that's what it was. So when I first got into this, even I knew that Picatinny was, if there was any other rails, Picatinny was the main one. So, and it makes sense when I looked into it more, and Picatinny is more of the standard rail than a Weaver. Picatinny rails are used by tons of different firearm manufacturers and are the most commonly used system in the world, apparently. Don't know how I can really fact check that, but I think we can all say it's common anyway. So Weaver rails are used less frequently and are not as widely available. So in terms of compatibility, Picatinny accessories will usually fit on any Weaver rail, but a Weaver accessory might not always fit on a Picatinny rail due to the differences in the slot sizing and the spacing, because the Picatinny is the spaces are evenly, I couldn't think of the word then, the spaces are evenly distributed, whereas the Weaver is different. So a Picatinny, anything that is made for a Picatinny rail, any sort of accessory that conforms to a Picatinny style rail will fit on a Weaver rail also. But it might not work the other way around. Just something to bear in mind, because accessories can cost a lot of money. So the last thing you want to do is get one that isn't compatible to your gun. So the next question that I asked, and it seemed to be a common one, was, do I need to buy a Picatinny rail or a Weaver rail? Do I need to buy the rail and attach that to my gun? Or do most guns already have the rails on? And what I found was it's becoming more popular for a Picatinny rail to come already installed on the gun. It's becoming more common for it to be a part of the gun as like a factory installed item. I don't know if it's like on a mass level, on a macro scale. I don't know if it is now more common to see that or not, but I know it's becoming more popular for companies, manufacturers to have a Picatinny rail already come on the firearm as a factory installed standard, and mine was as well. So I can speak to it directly from my Ruger AR15. The Picatinny rail came on as standard, so I didn't have to buy any other rails. Although I might buy for the sides and the underneath, because it's just got one on top. So the answer to that question was really depends on who you go with, which brand, which manufacturer, because they're all a little different. But it is becoming more popular to already have that installed, or at least some sort of rail system. Even my pistol, my Smith & Wesson 9mm, has a Picatinny rail, so it's becoming popular, that's for sure. So you may have to buy one, you may not, depends. And then the other question I saw was, what is best? What is the best rail system, a Picatinny or a Weaver rail system? And it's difficult. What I found is that it's difficult to really say what's the best rail system, because they're both good rail systems, they're both quality. It really just comes down to the individual, the shooter, your personal style and preferences, and how you feel about it, to be honest. The things to sort of consider, like factors to consider when buying one, would be like compatibility with accessories or different other, like multiple brands, their accessories and different types of accessories. Like, so consider that, like ease of use. Durability, I think, is about the same because they're both good quality. So durability, I would say, is just, they're both good, so that doesn't really factor in. But compatibility, you're going to be thinking more in terms of Picatinny, because there's just more stuff that becomes standard with a Picatinny rail. Ease of use, I would then lean towards Picatinny rails again, because there's so many accessories that are compatible with Picatinny rails, so there's less faffing around. It's kind of easier setup because it's becoming more commonly used, a Picatinny rail. And then cost, the other one would, and this is probably the largest factor, cost. Picatinny rails are often more expensive than Weaver rails, but that can vary a little bit. But across the board, what I saw is that's about right. A Picatinny rail did tend to be a little bit more expensive. But then again, if you're buying all these accessories and you're buying these guns, when you look at the price of the rail, it's not that much really. Within, maybe just like delay the purchase of your optic and get the rail first. Like, so I don't think, to me, cost didn't come into it too much. I would have I have a Picatinny rail, and even my new AR that's on its way, that's got a Picatinny rail as well. And so I think I would have always leaned towards that anyway, even though it was a little bit more expensive. But that's just me. That not everybody can do that, I understand. But yeah, that's the difference. That's a Picatinny rail system and a Weaver rail system. Different mounting systems that are used to attach accessories to your firearms. Thanks for joining me. That's all on that particular subject today. We might discuss it in the future. Have a good day. I'll speak to you soon.